There was a time when men understood women, not through words but through instinct. Before psychology, before dating apps, before the endless noise of social media advice, men simply knew. They could sense deceit before it spoke. They could feel desire before it was confessed. And they lived by unspoken codes, ancient truths about the female nature that guided how they loved, fought, and ruled. But modern men have forgotten. They've traded instinct for information. They've swapped wisdom for data. And now they drown in confusion, wondering why she loses respect, why she withdraws, why she tests him until he breaks. We live in an age where men try to understand women through logic, when women are not logical creatures in the realm of desire. They are emotional, intuitive, symbolic. They speak in feelings, not facts. And the man who forgets this is doomed to chase ghosts. Men today think they can debate their way into attraction, as if explaining your worth makes her want you. But the ancient man didn't explain himself. He embodied himself. He didn't argue for respect. He commanded it. Because deep down he knew one thing: women don't fall in love with words. They fall in love with energy. That's the first forgotten truth. Every time a man over-explains, justifies, or seeks approval, he weakens the invisible current that draws a woman in. Women are not attracted to logic. They're attracted to presence, to certainty, to quiet power. You can see it in nature. The lion doesn't beg to be respected. He simply is. The eagle doesn't explain why it flies higher. It just does. The ancient man knew. A woman doesn't want to lead. She wants to feel safe following a man who knows where he's going. But in our modern world, men have been told that leadership is toxic, that dominance is problematic, and that emotional expression means becoming soft. So they suppress their masculine nature, and then wonder why women stop desiring them. Here's the paradox. The more you try to become what society says a good man should be, the more you lose the magnetic energy that makes women feel alive around you. And so begins the decay, where men become emotionally neutered, over-empathetic, and disconnected from their primal essence. They become predictable, tame, safe, and women, sensing no polarity, start to withdraw, not because they're cruel, but because nature punishes weakness. This video is not about hating women. It's about understanding them again, through the eyes of ancient wisdom that modern men have forgotten. Because until you remember these truths, you'll keep playing the wrong game. Let's start with the first one, the truth of desire. Here's the truth no one dares say out loud. Women aren't drawn to peace, they're drawn to polarity. Modern men think being nice is enough. They think stability, comfort, and constant availability will make her love them. But the ancient man knew something our generation has forgotten. Desire doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in tension. Women don't want a life that feels safe but soulless. They crave the energy of a man who makes them feel, a man who pulls them into emotional chaos, the kind that ignites her instinct to submit, to surrender, to follow. It's not about manipulation, it's biology. The female psyche is drawn to challenge. It's wired to seek out power, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that radiates calm danger. A woman doesn't fantasize about the man who texts her all day. She dreams of the one who disappears into his mission, leaving her wondering what he's thinking. That's the tension, the space where her desire lives. Men today smother that space. They confuse affection with availability and kill attraction with predictability. They forget that mystery is masculine currency. The ancient man understood that to lead a woman, you must remain unknowable. You must have a world she can enter, but never fully conquer. Because the moment she completely understands you, she stops feeling the spark that made her crave you in the first place. This is why she tests you. This is why she stirs drama when things are too calm. She's unconsciously trying to find out, are you still the man I admired, or have you softened? Most men fail this test. They take her emotional storms personally. They beg, they explain, they overreact, and in doing so they reveal their emotional fragility. The ancient man didn't play that game. He stood still in the storm, calm, grounded, untouchable, because he knew her chaos is not a threat. It's her way of checking your strength. Here's the paradox of desire. Women say they want peace, but what they mean is they want a man who can bring peace to chaos. They don't want comfort. They want command. They want to feel like they're safe, but only because you can handle danger. And that's what modern men have forgotten. They try to earn a woman's love by being understanding, by becoming emotionally soft, agreeable, endlessly supportive. But that's not what wins her devotion. That wins her control. A woman doesn't fall for the man she can control. She falls for the one she can't tame. Because deep down, she doesn't want to mother her man. She wants to melt for him. If you want to awaken real attraction, stop trying to make her comfortable. Make her feel alive. That's the second ancient truth. Desire lives in polarity. And when you master it, you stop chasing women, because they start chasing you. Here's the brutal truth. A woman doesn't love you for what you say. She loves you for what you embody. Men today talk too much. They explain their boundaries, justify their choices, announce their values, hoping she'll understand. But women don't listen to words the way men do. They feel the man behind them. A weak man can recite every line from a self-help book and still be ignored. A strong man can stand in silence and be obeyed. That's because respect isn't requested, it's sensed. The ancient man didn't tell a woman how powerful he was. She felt it in the way he moved, in the way he looked at her, in the way he carried himself through the world. His presence spoke before his mouth ever did. Modern men have lost this presence. They're desperate to be understood, to prove that they're good, moral, caring, non-threatening. But the moment you try to prove your goodness, you've already lost respect. Because respect is born from self-trust. When a woman sees a man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't need her validation, who isn't emotionally tossed by her moods, something ancient awakens in her. It's the instinct to follow. Not out of submission, but out of recognition. She recognizes a man who stands on his own mountain, a man who does not move for anyone. That's why you can't negotiate respect. You can only embody it. Look at history. Every powerful man, from Marcus Aurelius to Alexander the Great, had this quality. They didn't beg people to see their worth. Their worth was unquestionable because they acted from inner law. And that's what women crave today. A man ruled by his own code. Not a code written by society, feminism, or modern dating culture. A code written by his soul. Women test you to see if your code is real. They'll provoke you, accuse you, tempt you, because they're trying to find the edges of your self-respect. They need to know, is this man who he says he is, or is it all talk? And most men fail. They react emotionally. They explain, defend, argue, and collapse under the weight of her storm. But the ancient man would simply observe. He'd look her in the eye and say nothing, because he didn't need to. He knew that real power doesn't chase understanding, it commands it. You can't make a woman respect you through persuasion. You earn it through consistency, through discipline, through quiet certainty. You become the kind of man who no longer needs her approval, and suddenly she gives it freely. That's the third ancient truth. Respect is not spoken, it's felt. And when a woman feels it, she'll follow you anywhere. Men today are obsessed with being liked. They polish their image, soften their tone, hide their aggression, and try to appear flawless, thinking perfection will earn them love. But here's the reality. Women are not drawn to perfection. They're drawn to power. Power is not arrogance. It's not cruelty. It's the ability to remain unshaken. A man can have looks, charm, and money, but if he bends under emotional pressure, if he apologizes for who he is, if he fears disapproval, she feels it. And her desire dies instantly, because instinctively women are wired to sense dominance, not through violence, but through certainty. It's the same instinct that made women throughout history drawn to warriors, kings, and conquerors, not because of their status, but because these men owned themselves. The modern man hides his instincts. He thinks being calm means being passive. He confuses emotional control with emotional suppression. He buries his fire until it turns into quiet resentment, and then wonders why she no longer looks at him like she used to. But the ancient man integrated his darkness. He knew his aggression, his lust, his ambition, and he mastered it. He didn't hide his hunger, he directed it. And that's what made him magnetic. Because power is not about domination. It's about alignment, when your masculine chaos is under your own command. When you know you could destroy, but choose discipline instead. That's what women feel when they're near a truly powerful man. The sense that he could lose control, but doesn't. That's what makes her body respond, even if her mind resists. She can't help it. Her instincts recognize strength. And strength doesn't come from pretending to be good. It comes from facing your shadow and making peace with it. Most men are terrified of their shadow. They repress their sexual power, their dominance, their anger, the very energies that create polarity. They try to be safe, harmless, predictable, and it kills attraction. A woman doesn't want a man who's harmless. She wants a man who's in control of his danger, because that's the only man she can trust. Think about it. A man who fears his own instincts cannot protect anyone. He's easily manipulated, easily guilt-tripped, easily disarmed. And deep down, women sense it. That's why she'll test you. That's why she'll push your buttons, to see if your inner world is stronger than hers. To see if you can contain her emotions without losing yourself. And when she realizes she can't break you, that's when she trusts you. That's the fourth ancient truth. Women don't want your perfection. They want your power under control. The man who embraces his full nature, dark and light, becomes the kind of man she can't forget. Every man has lived this story. You meet a woman, she's obsessed. She texts you first, mirrors your energy, praises you like you're the only man alive. Then you fall for her, you open up, become fully available, and she pulls away. It's confusing. You think, but I did everything right. You gave her consistency, loyalty, affection, all the things society says a woman wants. But instead of deepening her love, it killed her attraction. Here's the ancient truth. A woman's desire doesn't thrive on devotion. It thrives on distance. She doesn't crave to possess you. She craves to feel pulled toward you. And the moment she senses you've surrendered all your mystery, she loses the emotional tension that fuels her desire. The masculine and feminine are magnetic opposites, and magnetism requires space. Too much closeness kills it. Too much certainty kills it, because the essence of attraction is uncertainty. The ancient man understood this instinctively. He would provide protection, leadership, and love, but he always remained slightly unreachable. He was there, yet apart, loving, yet untamed, committed, yet free. That paradox of being with her yet beyond her is what drove her wild. Modern men have forgotten this dance. They confuse love with merger. They pour all their time, energy, and identity into her world and lose their polarity in the process. They become her emotional mirror instead of her mountain. When a man gives up his mission for her, he becomes spiritually irrelevant. Because she didn't fall in love with a man who needed her, she fell for the man who had a life without her. She fell for his ambition, his purpose, his distance. And when he gives that up, she sees him differently. This is why she'll say, "You've changed." No, you didn't change. You just stopped being the man she respected. The feminine needs to feel that your life is bigger than her, that your mission will exist with or without her approval. She needs to feel that she can orbit your world, not that you orbit hers. That's what creates emotional polarity, when she senses that she can't fully have you, only experience you. That's what keeps her invested, intrigued, alive. It's not about playing games, it's about balance. You don't punish her with distance, you reward yourself with focus. You don't ignore her to create tension, you stay grounded in your path and let her come to you. Because when a man is lost in his purpose, he becomes magnetic. When his energy flows into something higher than her, she feels it, and suddenly she wants to be part of it. That's the fifth ancient truth. Women don't crave devotion. They crave a man devoted to something greater than them. When you give her everything, she loses the thrill. When you give her your purpose, she gives you her soul. There's a reason women test men. It's not cruelty, it's instinct. A woman's nature was never meant to follow the weak. Deep down, she's constantly asking a silent question. Can you contain me? She doesn't test your patience. She tests your stability. She doesn't want to destroy your frame. She wants to feel it. Because when she pushes and you stay centered, she finally exhales. She finally feels safe. That's the sixth forgotten truth. The feminine tests not to wound, but to find safety in your strength. The man who fails this doesn't lose a woman. He loses himself. He becomes emotionally reactive, chasing peace from someone who's designed to challenge him into growth. And the more he seeks her validation, the less of a man he becomes. The ancient man knew this. He understood that her chaos was part of nature itself. You don't fight a storm, you stand through it. That's what separates a boy who begs for love from a man who commands devotion. But there's one truth above all the rest, the one modern men have completely abandoned. The man who masters himself masters the dynamic. That's the seventh and final truth. Because it's never really been about women, it's always been about you. If you can't master your impulses, your mind, your mission, she will. If you can't lead yourself, she'll lead you and resent you for it. Because nature will always follow strength. And in this world of weak distractions and soft comfort, most men have forgotten what that even feels like. The sovereign man doesn't need validation. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't argue to be understood. He is understood, because his life speaks louder than his words. He's not cruel, but he's unyielding. He's not distant, but he's untouchable. He moves with purpose, and every woman who meets him feels it. Because when you rise into your true masculine sovereignty, you stop competing with other men. You stop fearing women. You stop begging the world for meaning. You become the meaning. And that's what women have always sought. Not a man who completes them, but a man who reminds them that the masculine spirit still lives. So remember this: the chaos of the feminine is not your enemy. It's the mirror through which you see your own weakness. And once you conquer it within yourself, you stop fighting it out there. That's the rebirth of the ancient man, the one modern men must become again. Because only when the masculine returns to its throne will women remember what it feels like to rest in their nature. If this video stirred something deep inside you, if it awoke the fire you thought you'd lost, then don't let it fade. Like this video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it. Subscribe and support the mission using the link in the description. See you in the next one.